Hey there guys, this is Robin Hood bringing you some more Napoleon Total War multiplayer. Today is another 2 versus 2, this time on Italian grassland against these good fellows over here. You guys can read their names because I'm not going to attempt to pronounce any of that, but once again, as always, my ally is Mikenuge over there playing as Prussia. I will be playing as France in this replay, and we're going to be fighting two Ottoman opponents using the melee rush build or their variations of melee rush builds, which is a lot of times what Ottoman players do. You always expect when facing them to be fighting at least one or two melee units, if not more, which is generally the case. But I have 4 skirmishers here, and then looks like 3 Swiss foot, 2 Polish Legion, 2 Old Guard, then for my cavalry, Dutch Guard Lancers, Dragoons, a 7th Regiment of Lancers, and Polish Guard Lancers, and then I have got a Howitzer. Now, if you guys saw my last video, you guys saw that I have like 8 or 9 replays, which are all pretty good to show you guys. Out of those replays, this is probably on the bottom end of I guess you would say epicness, because some of the other ones are 3v3s, crazy battles, but this one's cool, something quick that I can upload tonight, and throughout the next week you guys should expect all of those others. I've got one that is an absolutely epic last stand of Prussia in a 3v3, and I'll let you guys see that later though. But over here you can see Mike has a similar army, although having one more light infantry, but he's got quite a bit of line as well, a lot of foot guards, and then musketeers here, and he's just kind of spread out. And as always, he only brought 1 cavalry. Keep telling him that cavalry is more effective than he thinks it is, but that's pretty much that. So our opponents here, you can see, we'll start with my opponent here. He's got 1 light infantry here. I believe he may have had more hidden. Maybe not, but he's got all of this line infantry, and this is just to keep my line firing. Well, this mess here, all these Comet Janissaries rush in, and that is 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and then a ton of cavalry over here. This Solitar Guard is, in my opinion, the best cavalry unit in the game, just because of the fact that whenever I use it, it has really good melee stats, which is rare for Lancer cavalry, and its charge bonus is devastating. So, you know, I'll fight horse guards and kill all but 10 of them in the charge, and then it's no contest from there. But basically, these guys both here, this is Mike's opponent, you can see all the sword symbols as well. Got a ton of melee units, and then some infantry just to kind of tie down the line. And that's the main strategy that they use. They'll get you firing at their line infantry, and then you can't do anything about the melee rush. So, as you can see, we were marching forward, and when we saw that, our men are starting to move back, because one thing we do have they don't is artillery. And the second thing is they have a 100% attacking army, and it would be foolish of us to attack them when they're, you know, they have to attack or they can't win. And if we were to attack them, we would not be meeting them with a full line of fire, especially in this middle broken up area, and it would just completely benefit the swords. What you need is for the swords to charge into your guns and get mowed down, unless you have a similar melee rush counter. So, you know, we're just going to sit back, because these guys have to attack. If needed, we can come forward with our skirmishers and outshoot their infantry, and it's pretty much over at that point. So you can see they're all just lining up, and Mike's going to move forward for a little bit here soon. So I'm going to fast forward everything. Let that move on. And you can watch the mini-map, see some of their movements. They're moving closer together. Mike and I are doing the same. And you can see right here, Mike deploying the double lines with the skirmishers. That is 3. what is the plan there is pretty much when the melee rush comes, you fire a shot with your skirmishers, pull them back, fire a shot with your other line, pull them back, and then you fire a shot with your third line. By then the skirmishers are almost dead. You have the other troops lined up behind, or the sword rush, that is, not skirmishers, and at that point you can pretty much handle the battle. And right here, this is some of my cavalry come over to help. And I don't know, did they have artillery? Because, yes, they do. Okay, right here, there are some howitzers. My opponent, on the other hand, does not have any. But that was what shot at my artillery, hence why I ran away here. Mike is pushed forward. He's going to try to skirmish with them. But the thing is, this area, if we move to the center of the field like we normally do and attack, it would have been the downfall of us, because we would not have been able to line up. And what could have been terrible is if our opponents caught us in a choke point like this with the melee rush, because with that and having troops firing on you, it is not going to go well. But right now it's just an artillery duel between Mike and this guy. He's got some howitzers of his own. And right now is when I'm going to start working with my cavalry some, which in this game can be effective. In Rome and Shogun, if you guys watch some of my older replays, you know there was times where I would have 4 cavalry units tear apart a whole army if they were camping. You know, my army would be ready to support, but I'd just run my cavalry around until they made a mistake. There was an opening, quick hit, get out of there, barely take any casualties, they'd have 100 dead. And I'm going to try to do something kind of like that here. Not quite to the extent because of the guns. It makes it kind of difficult to success. You know, they can just turn around, so it's not like I'm going to get in behind them. And they do have a lot of good cavalry. But this howitzer unit is going to be the target, because without this, they can't sit and wait. Right now, this was their plan. Hopefully win the artillery duel, even though we have 2 pieces of artillery. And then we would have to attack them, at which they would get the first shot by sitting behind the ridge, so our skirmishers would have to move forward in order to actually fire, not giving them the advantage of that extra range. Then the melee rush comes in, and it's over. So you can see all of this. Mike's taking some fire here. Looks like some of my cavalry did die. 1, maybe. I don't know where I ran them to. But we will speed it up again. There's my cavalry there. And I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, here we go. Right here, my opponent was shuffling his line infantry to the left. His left. And that opened up a little gap here where his men couldn't fire on me. He's going to keep shuffling. Right now he's forming at kind of an angle with that one unit that just went hidden to actually fire on these guys if I ran over that way. And there you can see these guys are hidden and firing, but they're in square formation because they saw the cavalry. But this guy here is making a move to block off my cavalry. You can see that there. I am trying to run around, and then I decide, you know what, cavalry, what the heck, I'm just going to run through this unit and get into that artillery, because once one of these guys is engaged in melee, that is pretty much it for that artillery unit. They all withdraw from their guns, and I am not going to kill all of them, but I'm going to do quite a good amount of damage. And these are my dragoons, so they're not even my better cavalry. Not my lancers, my elite lancer regiment. So taking out the artillery there. A common thing still is the glitch where if you lose your artillery to cavalry like this and then you put your men back on the guns, it doesn't fire. And I believe that's what happened here. Or he didn't ever put them back on the guns. And Mike was about to back me up with cavalry, but realized it was a bad idea there. And now all of this is shuffling around. On the left you can see my guys starting to move forward some, but right now it's just a game of waiting. And to the right, the Ottoman player is moving forward. I'll turn so you guys can see that while it's all sped up. And Mike is going to withdraw back into the open field. So pretty soon here the actual engagement is going to start. These here are some my allies' units, I believe. Not my allies, my opponents. Or it might have been part with this guy. But you can see Mike had this forward advanced line, and he's got the line farther back. He's getting a ton of fire into this melee rush here. He's going to let one of his skirmisher units take the hit, and here he's got artillery firing canister into this mess, killing tons of them. But you can see the skirmishers in the back. This is the whole plan, and then he's bringing in cavalry in the back to hammer and anvil these guys, hoping that it will deal with that melee rush. And out here he's got one unit in the building. What are these guys? Prussian Fusilier. Just kind of picking at these guys as they move by. There's some more of his men there. So at this point, the whole battle is being fought by him at the time until my opponent actually marches towards me. And right here, you can see I have my advanced line. And I do have these old guard in the back, ready for right when these guys fire to fall back. But the reason they're only over here is because the entire melee rush is currently on this flank. And here you can now see Mikenuge falling back to his secondary line. This melee rush has taken a ton of casualties, but also killed one of the skirmishing units. Maybe caught a line infantry too. Nah, the line infantry's fine, but it did catch the skirmishing, and he's got more chasing, so this is when the other lines are going to come in. But I mean, this is just kind of the tactic they use. Tie you up with the melee, shoot you down, and you know, these melee units specialize in that. Infantry don't, so it pretty much ends up that they would win it anyways, if they didn't take too many casualties getting there and with the backing up fire. And it's a good tactic. I have used it a few times, posted some videos of that. I have never used it to this extent, as mainly my opponent here with this many rush troops. I usually only bring like 3 and work on a flank, or sometimes try to blast out their center with it. And right there, got an incredible artillery hit, taking down a ton of men in this unit. And right now, you know, this fire is going to rout these guys, and these melee units are all I want to kill. I do not care at all about these guys firing at me, and they are about to get blasted by my skirmishers, sitting and waiting for them. And my line infantry is more than competent to take them out. And look at that. Volleys right into these guys as they cross through the wheat. There's some of their dead. It's hard to see in the grass, but that's that. So you can see my guys now coming at me. I've got my guards backing up. I've got my cavalry. Cavalry is also very excellent to use against this. And my opponent's main mistake, this would have been the better flank for him to work at. It's more exposed here. He decided to move his melee rush through the town, maybe because it provides cover, which I can understand from, you know, incoming fire. But it also completely bottlenecks it. So you can see all these guys are pushing through the one area. Now they're running, and I'm going to let my skirmishers take a hit because I've got line infantry lining up on the sides, and here comes some cavalry to stall as well. But all of this fire is just going to mow these guys down, and my artillery is dealing some damage to the morale over there. You can see Mike's side is now quiet. The battle over here now over, and everything is in my side. But I'm just wrapping around this melee rush. There's a few more parts of it, not all that much. The main thing now is this massive cavalry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of cavalry charging, and my cavalry is coming to meet it as well. These guys are going to take a hit, but they are going to get fired on from the back. That's going to kill a ton of that cav, and then my cavalry is going to come in to support. Look at that old guard firing in there too, the double line. So these guys are getting mowed down. I am taking some hits though, and this melee rush of Comet Janissaries is actually making it to my line. Thankfully I have an elite unit there. Mike is bringing over some guys because he's standing right there and his opponent's not making any moves at the moment. So here comes my cavalry in to stop some of this melee rush, pulling those guys back. Mike's shooting at them. My old guard has shifted to fire upon that unit there too, and that's now over. The only thing at the time causing problems is apparently my own artillery shooting my men. Look at that, because it was still targeted on the melee rush units. And this massive cavalry in the center, which has hit my square, and they're trying to bust through to my artillery. But my men are holding strong. My cavalry is in here, and that is going to put a stop to that. Now I have men on the flank getting ready to fire in, men in the back getting ready to fire in. It's just not looking all that well. Right here, he has gotten on my left flank, which you can see I am now shifting to meet, because these guys came back from routing. Came from that direction, so they are now on the flank, and they're about to get a volley here, and my skirmishers are dealing with some of the Ottomans over to the right, but you can see they have taken heavy casualties, and there comes the volley from my Polish Legion, dropping a ton of guys over here. So these guys are going to rout soon. The only real unit causing problems is this light infantry, pretty much the only one he has, and my cavalry is now over here to wrap that up and end it. So there are still some melee rush units in the back here that I'm going to have to deal with. One almost full one, and then there's some guys just sitting way in the back. Don't know quite what they're doing, but you can see Mike's side here. At this point, this guy's melee rush has pretty much died attacking, so it's just an open line battle over here, which Mike will have the advantage in because he has the better infantry. And on my side, you can see the center of my line did actually get pretty depleted. You can see all the casualties that took place in here, all of that cavalry going down. But also you can see just right here, my line did get hit by the melee rush. The backup line shot it down, and some cav came in there too. But if you look where these guys are crossing now, you can just see the trail of death that occurred as they made their march forward. And my cavalry's coming in for a shot in the back, and then there's an awesome artillery volley to pretty much deal a lot of damage to that unit, and they are actually going to rout from it. But I am going to chase them, or maybe not. I should have chased them with some cavalry just to make sure they don't come back from routing. But at this point, you can see I'm sending some units over here because he's got some guys come back from routing, and the rest of my army is going to go and start helping Mike, who is now in a very long battle line, fighting with this guy. He's got some melee troops over here, it seems. And we will fast forward this. You can see my troops coming over. You'll also see them shooting up back there off in the distance. And here comes my line. There goes some of my cavalry. We're going to charge this unit, which came back again. Another good artillery hit. And then my cavalry's there. These guys don't do very well against cavalry, so they're going to rout. There's Mike's line. You can see I was deploying in a line behind Mike, and then we were going to get ready and push forward. The rest of my infantry is coming back over now that the battle on my side is complete. And pretty sure it's at this point. We were like, yeah, there's Old Guard on the field too, pretty much full units, so that alone helps a lot with this side. And right here, this guy is melee rushing in the center, and I told Mike, you know, you keep shooting, pull back a little bit, I can waste these 2 units just to stop this charge, and you keep on shooting, because my side of the battle is done, so as long as his army holds out. And over here he is having a little bit of trouble, but I believe his men will actually hold, just because these guys are very depleted, and there are foot guards nearby. And my Old Guard is also lining up. Once they start firing, it's pretty much a done deal. And in the center there, this guy's still got quite a bit of troops in the back. But you can see my units here holding out against this melee rush, which really they won't for long, except for with the supporting fire, just because they don't stand much of a chance in melee against these guys. But they're actually going to hold out due to, like I said, this backfire, except it is also killing quite a bit of them, so it was kind of an even trade-off. And there they go. These guys have been stalled though, had more time to been shot up, and I'm sending in another unit to stop it again, and these guys have enough men to actually hold, and those guys routed. Now you can see everything back here is done, cleaned up all the routing units. I just have my artillery firing at those units that did not fully rout, and I'm bringing over even more reinforcements. So what's left of my army, you know, these are some pretty decently sized units. At this point, we pretty much got this battle, especially with Mike, starting to completely wrap around here. And my Swiss foot moving up in the center. Here comes my old guard. You can see on Mike's line. We're just moving to completely wrap around this, and here I'm trying to shift out of the way of these guys firing. I'm pretty sure that it is at this point that we decide to go ahead and melee rush. Yeah, there's my old guard firing in. This guy's gonna pop a rally, try to keep these guys in the fight. Some of the last... This is a camel unit here, doing their last bit of fighting. Look at that, they just took a volley. Those guys are gonna go down, and that's pretty much it in the center. You can see I've got old guard backing up the center. He's got foot guards on the left, in the center there, and maybe some in the right. An 8th Life Regiment. So there's really not a lot left. And here comes the melee rush. We were like, yeah, let's end this with style. There are these units in the back here, but they should rout once everything else is gone. So here you get to see the last stand of the Ottomans, and look at that. It's just a line all around of infantry charging in. And there it comes. Foot guards leading the way, old guard backing up. That is not something they're going to want to fight. And they're doing their best to hold, but it is just too much men. And they're going to start dropping. And then we've got our guys lined up over here to fire on this last unit. Just killed their general. Those guys rout. And these should be the last volleys of the game here. See, everyone's lined up. I was pleading with Mike to spread out to the flanks and not destroy my Polish Legion. Get a volley there, and I believe this is when my Polish Legion gets shot in the back. Yeah, look at that. Just killed a ton of my men. So that wasn't very nice. Thankfully, he actually complied on this flank with going to the flank, but these guys are going to rout because they have no other support. So they're like, we're done. And that is it for this battle, except for this general, who it seems is just going to charge in. Ah, no. That's right, I sent my general out to meet him in combat. So there's a little bit of general on general action, and there's my general right there, face to face with his. And that's going to be it. So there you can see the statistics. Mike there killing a crap ton of guys, losing a little bit more than me. He actually killed just about as much more than he lost. Like, he lost as much more than he killed compared to me there. So overall, that was a pretty good game. And Mike actually almost deployed the most, but both of our opponents deployed way more troops than us. But that's pretty much howitzers up top. I really don't like artillery. Just brought it, and they happened to be very effective that battle. But, you know, if you're fighting a melee rush, even if you know, and if for those of you who haven't seen my videos, go watch every single one of my other Napoleon Total War videos. We're always on the attacking side. We always go meet the enemy. But there's a time when, you know, you should give up attacking if it benefits your opponent. And most of the times when we do attack, it does, because they have first shot, big hill, all that. But what I mean is, like, when it seriously plays into your opponent's hands, and there's no real strategical gain at all, such as attacking a melee rush. So that's pretty much how we played it. Hope you guys enjoyed that battle, and I will see you all next time with more. Thank you for watching.